Yes, that is the Robin Williams. No AI bull. And chances are, you've probably never seen that clip before. See, 2002 was kind of a detour for Robin's career, spanning in a new direction. Along with jumping into this movie inside the horror genre, he also did a movie called Insomnia alongside Al Pacino, which was another character he embodied. At first glance, you might dismiss 1 Hour Photo as merely the tale of a lonely photo technician, Cy, played by Robin Williams, masterfully. But this film explores deeper themes: alienation, obsession, abuse, loneliness, isolation, and often the self-destructing power of longing for that connection. Cy is a deeply fixated character, nurturing an unhealthy fixation on this seemingly picture-perfect family. And I will say this movie is more of a psychological thriller rather than a horror movie, but make no mistake, there are certain time frames and windows of this film that go full-on horror ape shit. It explores some of the darkest themes you can imagine. And what brings this all full circle is the ending. This ending is one that you can theorize about what may or may not be happening, or happened. Either way, it's fucked. It's one of those endings that's written purposely for the audience to have open interpretation. And I love movies like that. Not all of them do it right, but this one does. At the heart of the film is Cy's daily routine, characterized by his meticulous work developing photographs for his customers. However, there's something uniquely off about Cy. A quiet intensity underlines his polished exterior manner. The bulk of the plot really emerges when you find out that he does have this fixation on this Yorkin family. He revels in their photos, showing a longing to be a part of their world. A world filled with warmth, love. The more we learn about Cy, the more we see how much he disassociates between how he perceives himself and the actual reality around him. Now, Cy's had this obsession for quite a while. Multiple times throughout the film, Cy inserts himself into the Yorkins' life. Now, for the early parts of the film, he does it all imaginary. It's hallucinations, daydreams. But it steadily becomes worse and worse and worse. He steals their film rolls. They want 2 copies, he makes 3. And he uses these photos to capture these memories, these intimate moments between his family. And I mean from day one. He has essentially watched this family grow since day one. The engagement and wedding of Will and Nina, the birth of Jake, and the years following with his upbringing until present time. Weirdly enough, he also refers to himself as Uncle Cy. But the family brushes it off as, oh, that's just Cy. He's kind of weird, but he's a nice guy. But eventually, of course, he starts stalking them. Now, the reason I love this narrative so much is it kind of goes against the grain. Cy isn't stalking the family because he wants the girl. No. Cy legit wants to be part of this family. He has love for all of them. The father, Will. The mother, Nina. Jake, the child. He genuinely cares about this family. He has compassion for them. He wants to be a part of it. But of course, we have to get to the arc of the movie and shit hits the fan. His dreams are crushed because his picture-perfect family is crushed by this dark secret that he has revealed. The husband, Will, has been cheating on Nina, and Cy takes matters into his own hands to avenge the betrayal of the family. Now, in short, Will's co-worker, Maya, has also come into the store multiple times to develop photos. Somewhere along the way, he puts 1 and 1 together, and he goes through her photos, Maya's photos, and sees Will. They're on the beach, having a couple of drinks, getting some And in his defense, he tries to do the right thing. He anonymously tells Nina about the cheating scandal. Now, the way he does this, he takes one of Maya's photos of Will and her together and puts it inside of Nina's family photos. And when they look at it, the bitch almost runs off the road. But this is the point where Cy really starts stalking this family. And he is just dumbfounded about the reaction because at first she was like, okay, she knows. What are you going to do? But however, Nina just plays along like nothing ever happens. And this is the funniest scene because this is his reaction.
What the hell's wrong with these people?
I was like, yeah, Cy, this is the real world, buddy. Wake up. But life and lies catch up to Cy as well. He gets fired from his job for stealing rolls of film. His picture-perfect family fantasy is ruined, and he is not taking it lightly. And there's nothing more dangerous than a man with nothing left to lose. The third act of this film is the most intriguing, and in retrospect, there are many ways to theorize how the story went, how the story concluded, and you have to decipher what was real and what was inside Cy's mind. Now let me explain this. In the final act of vengeance, Cy decides to follow Will and Maya, his booty call co-worker, to a motel and forcibly makes them pose in sexual gestures as he takes pictures of them. Eventually, he is caught, arrested, interrogated, and Will returns safely home to his family. One of the unveilings in the film at the end is Cy heavily hints to the detective that he had childhood abuse and how pictures are meant to capture good memories, not
Degrading pictures of your children doing these things.
It's sad to see now the real reason why Cy cares about photographs so much, so meticulously. And it all clicked for me when he purchased an old vintage photograph of a random lady saying that it was his mom. Inside the apartment, he had 0 photographs of his mom and dad. He also told Jake that when he was a child, he often came down with mono and hepatitis. Unfortunately, this also backs up the really messed up childhood that Cy had. However, he asked the detective to see the photos that he took of Will and Maya. But here's the interesting thing. None of the photos was of Will and Maya. They were just random photos of the hotel room, furniture, and inanimate objects. This is interesting to think about because one of the main twists in the film is the moment that Cy looks at the developed photos from Jake because he gave Jake a disposable camera for his birthday for free, and now he's looking at the photos. As soon as he realized that Jake didn't take pictures of normal things, friends, family, goofy things around the house, they mirrored Cy's pictures exactly. Random objects, furniture, toys, blurriness, out of focus shots. Just like Cy revealed in the ending of what he was fixated on. This made Cy suspect that Jake was suffering from some kind of abuse or neglect. And this kind of tracks in the beginning because there's a scene in the first act of the film where Nina and Will are having this fight of how he is an abusive, neglectful father.
You're neglectful. And you're an emotionally neglectful father.
So that kind of tracks. I don't think there's any concrete evidence of this, but it's awfully suspicious of how all these things will line up together like that. It can't be coincidence for me. But the main theory we have to talk about is some theorize that Cy never went into the room at all, that the attack of them was all inside of his mind. This one has a little bit less evidence to back this theory up, but there's also not 0 evidence to not back this up. Still totally a possibility, mainly due to the continuity errors, such as missing scars on Maya when she's taking a shower afterwards. It could have been that Will finally broke it off with her, and instead of them trembling in the aftermath of what just happened, they're actually just heartbroken with each other now that it's over. One last rendezvous, you know? But on the flip side of that, to back this theory up, we can go back to the photographs. Cy is taking photos of Will and Maya, or at least the flash is going off. So did Cy just imagine all of this inside of his mind? Did he do this just to scare Will into being a better father and husband? The way this movie is written, I don't think there is a concrete answer. Ideally, Cy would have went inside the hotel room, did his act, got arrested, interrogated, and so on and so forth. However, there is too many missing gaps, and there's too many open-ended questions here that are never answered to have a definitive answer. After all, the last shot of the film is Cy in a photo with the family. Meaning, I think the last frame of the film represents that Cy has inadvertently brought this family back together. He taught Will a lesson, whether that happened or not. If it did happen, Cy taught him a lesson. If it didn't happen, Will was finally a man, broke it off with Maya, and returned back to his family. But it's so weird because you still have that tiny piece of Jake angle there. I don't know, that's not something I really want to talk about. The movie is well structured, and I really love a movie that makes you think about it over and over again. There are some beautifully structured camera shots in this that set the mood board and help carry the story. For example, the long pan shot of Cy walking out after he's fired. His demeanor, the music getting darker. His facial expressions dropping down. Him getting angrier and angrier with every step he takes. That mixed with some well-written voiceovers by Robin himself about the history and the meaning of photographs, it's really nice. This might sound like a whole lot to unpack, but it really has a good blend and a good balance of all these elements. The story, the theories, what happened, what didn't happen, Cy's psyche. It's what makes this film so unique and enjoyable to watch. But it's also dark and eerie enough and explores these dark themes of abuse that can easily swing you the opposite direction. So if you haven't seen this movie, I would recommend it for a watch. If I had to rate this movie, I would definitely give it a solid 6.5. I could probably go 7 out of 10. It's a little bit of a slow burner, but like I said, as the movie goes on, it's just elements and elements and elements. It's a fun movie to try to decipher. It's well done, and Robin really killed the role. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for taking part of your day to kick it with me. You know I appreciate it. Till next time, adios.